Hello and welcome to another fanfiction reading. So this time we are doing a RWBY fanfiction, this one being BlackSun one-shots, which was requested to me by a commenter. And, I mean, apparently I have read this before. I don't think I've made a video on it. But I mean, whatever. We'll see. Cause I got nothing here. Whatever. We'll begin. Cause there's 3 parts. We'll see what happens. It says some chapters M-rated, which makes me slightly nervous. But hopefully we'll try to make it through, anyways. And maybe this will take 1 part. Maybe this will take 2. Hopefully only 1, just so we can get onto other stuff as well. But yeah, it's like whatever. Let's see what happens. So, chapter 1, feelings. Blake, I guess. Never once did I think I'd have feelings for someone again, especially after Adam, but seeing his face would fill me with warmth that I've never felt before. What was this feeling? Penny for your thoughts? Brought back to reality, Blake was suddenly aware of her surroundings. She was walking aimlessly outside of school. She was even more aware of who was next to her, enjoying the morning air just like she was. Don't sneak up on me like that. It's unnerving. Butterflies launched in her stomach. She heard him laugh and risked a glimpse at him. Big mistake. His head was tilted back in a laugh. She could see his perfect white teeth flash in the sunlight. Not able to look away, she stared. He opened his eyes, looking into hers, twinkling a deep ocean blue. Like something you see, he teased. The butterflies are going crazy now. She rolled her eyes, looking away, pink rising in her cheeks. Yeah, right. She heard him chuckle, but dared not look. Don't want to get caught a second time. They strolled together, not going to any certain place. A silent, companionate walk of just the 2 of them. No one else was out since it was early Saturday morning, recovering from Friday night. Blake loved these walks, happy to just be together, not needing to say anything. A feeling no one else seemed to understand, with the exception of Sun. The cool air calmed her heated cheeks, enough so she felt she could look at him again. She had a small smile, one that never seemed to leave he had a small smile, one that never seemed to leave his face. Ready to talk? This smile was a knowing smile, like he knew the way she felt in his presence. She sighed, stopping their walk behind a pillar near the school. Was she that easy to read? How do you do that? Sun looked at her questioningly. Do what? Even his confused face was cute. How do you know what I'm feeling? Does he know how her inside turns to mush when he looks at her? That when they touch, her heart beats so hard in her chest? Everyone must hear it. He smirked. Do I make you nervous? Sun leaned in. Her face turned bright red. She rested a hand on his chest to keep him away because she didn't think her heart could take it. Literally and figuratively. She was trapped between him and the wall. His eyes locked in hers. No, she stuttered. Oh yeah? His smile became bigger, his face closer. Yeah, she whispered. He looked down a little and she knew he was looking at her lips. She looked at his almost simultaneously. They were practically inviting her in. The only sound in the morning air was her gasp as Sun captured her lips within his soft ones. She turned her head to give her better access. And like taking a bite of fresh, warm cinnamon roll, she let out a moan. Smiling into their kiss, Sun pulled away. Still nervous? He grinned. Hold on, just let my heart get back on its normal speed. She laid one hand on her heart, and the other hand was still on his chest. His heart was beating as fast as hers. Sun grinned wider. That might be a while. In response, Blake grabbed his shirt and pulled him to her. A long while. Well done. Alright, next chapter. Reading time. Or next one shot, because it's one shot, so it's just 3 different stories here. Yeah, I honestly don't know. I'm pretty sure I haven't actually read this before, but I mean it's nowhere on my list of things to read. I have no idea, if I'm honest. I don't know. I don't even remember reading this the first time, but I guess you could say that about a lot of the stories that I will eventually be reading. Alright, we'll continue. We don't need to talk anymore. Reading time! Sun's POV. It was a hot day at Beacon with everyone, but Sun preferring to stay inside. He strolled with his hands on his head, finding it quite boring without other people around. He even wouldn't mind Team RWBY, as destructive as they are. He definitely wouldn't mind a certain raven-haired girl's company. He quirked a smile. What was she doing today? Taking a nap in the sunlight after reading a good book, he bet. Mind made up, Sun found the dorm a certain faunus girl resided in and scaled the tree, swinging with his tail, hanging upside down from a tree limb to peer inside the open window. There she was, sitting on her bed, leaning against a pillow, deeply engrossed in a book with her teammates nowhere to be seen. Her intelligent golden eyes moving quickly across the pages and her ears twitching in interest. Sun opened his mouth to say hello, but closed it soon after. He was perfectly content just watching her read. After a few minutes of listening to pages turning, feeling the slight breeze ruffle his hair, Sun closed his eyes, fully relaxing in the comfortable silence, happy to be near her. With him being half asleep, he didn't hear the sound of a book being shut, some rustling of the bed, and finally footsteps stopping in front of him. Sun, what are you doing? Blake questioned, with an edge to her voice. A bit surprised by the voice cutting through the quiet, but rather than open his eyes, he smiled. Sleeping? Why here? Why not here? He heard her huff and his smile widen. I don't think my teammates will like a monkey boy hanging out in front of their window, and frankly, I don't either. Sun chuckled at her unintentional pun. Feeling the air shift and guessed she opened her arms. Finally opening his eyes, he answered cheekily, then would it be better if I hung out inside the room? Yep, her arms were crossed, but Sun couldn't find it in himself to feel guilty. Her eyes narrowed with the slightest scrunch in her nose and ears twitching back, and just made it cuter than ever. Oh man, was he falling hard. There was a stare-off, ending with Blake rolling her eyes and gestured for him to come in. You're impossible. She got back on her bed, opening her book without checking to see if he took her off her. Once inside, Sun sat on the ground, not wanting to mess up Team RWBY's bed sheets, especially not the Ice Queen's. He closed his eyes again, but the hard floor was bothering him. Giving up, he turned on the puppy dog eyes to look at Blake's bed. Then Blake herself, which he noticed, but was doing the best she could to ignore him. He sighed after some minutes. Hey, kitty cat, don't call me that. Continuing on like he hadn't heard and she hadn't said anything, he asked. Aren't you tired? I know it hasn't been easy on you in the past weeks worrying about Roman and the White Fang, his voice losing their playfulness. Sun was genuinely worried. Blake's eyes were becoming more tired-looking, with bruise-like shadows getting darker. He hadn't seen her eat anything for a week now. I'm fine. Sun frowned, a bit hurt that she was telling him the same thing she was telling everyone else, when clearly she wasn't fine. He was sure she thought of him as an idiot for being happy all the time, when he only did it to keep everyone's spirits up. But still, he failed that for her. He frowned further. No one's POV. Blake sighed and closed her book, not used to him being so sullen, and she disliked it. She decided to answer honestly. Okay, maybe I could do with a nap. He lifted his head and smiled at her, but it wasn't at its usual blindingly bright. She sighed again and hesitantly patted the space next to her. This time he completely lit up and quickly laid down next to her, careful to respect her space. He watched her until she closed her eyes to finally close his. Take a cat nap, you mean? He grinned even after a pillow smashed his face and annoyed Blake turning away from him. Between him and Yang, honestly. What? I don't know. A couple hours later, Yang, Weiss, and RWBY returned from the pool to find Blake completely curled into Sun, who had his arm around her. They stopped to look at each other and stepped back out, shutting the door quietly. RWBY blushed. Back to the pool? Weiss smirked. It's about time she got some rest. Yang nodded her agreement as they walked back for some more fun at the pool. I feel like that's a little unnecessary. An hour later, Blake's POV. Blake awoke feeling much better. She tried getting up, but something restricted her. She realized that sometime in her and Sun's nap, she and Sun gravitated towards each other for warmth, and now their legs were tangled, his arm around her and one of hers over his abs. No! Come on! Not that I haven't seen this ad like 10 times already. Her chin tucked under his head and his tail curled around her protectively. Cheeks burning and her body heating up. She wondered if she should get up, but knew that would wake Sun. She took a deep and shaky breath to relax herself. He was actually really warm. She nosed deeper into his neck, loving his banana scent. Wait, what? She slowly fell back asleep, the most content she's been in forever, but she would think about why later. Oh! Well then, looks like it's only 2 chapters and this story doesn't exist. Well, that is the end. And apparently it was last updated in July of technically last year. So that's about it for this, I guess. I didn't really expect it to. I didn't expect it to not take very long, but whatever, I guess. Yeah, I don't know. Whatever, we'll see. If any of you have any stories you want me to read, then you can tell me about them. Preferably keeping it relatively similar to the stuff I've done already, just because I don't want like some stuff that I don't know, stuff that I don't understand in any way. But yeah, we'll see. I mean, obviously, I still decide whether I do it, but whatever. We'll be done. We'll be done now. We should probably just end it. Yeah. Next time, I don't know what's gonna happen. I mean, obviously, we have another episode of a Fairy Tale Christmas Miracle next time, but after that, yeah, I don't know what it is. It's been the same thing it's been in a while. I don't even know.